Ben Cherington runs the Pirates. He knows what he's doing as far as building good teams are concerned. Look at the Red Sox. And he says hello. Nice of him to come on, by the way, during the holiday group. He doesn't have to do it. And Ben says, joins us here on High Heat. Ben, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sure this trade wasn't an easy one to make. I mean, this is a guy that has had 2-3 real good years at the Pirates, a little bit of a fan favorite. But sometimes decisions have to be made for the betterment of the franchise. Give me some thoughts on trying to pull the trigger here with a good first baseman. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that was mostly it. Thanks for having me, Chris, and happy holidays. I think, at the end of this season, I had been in Pittsburgh for about a year at that point, or just under a year. And I think, a lot of that first year you spend on just trying to get a clear sense of what you have and the players, major league players, minor league players, and just get a little bit more precise on what you need to build a winning team. And I think we recognize after 1 year that we have some of the players we need, but we need a lot more. And as much as you got to get that through the draft, and international trades are a part of it. And in our case, that means making some tougher calls on guys that we like. In order to just add and build a talent base that gives us the best chance to win over time. So with Josh, Josh is a good teammate. He's a talented player, someone I really enjoyed getting to know over a year. And so that's a tough phone call, but also very clear to us that, that's the type of decision we have to make and need to continue to be willing to make.
Now, he tailed off 2 years ago in the second half and not great last year. If he had continued that pace, would you have not traded him? How much did his cooling off offensively contribute to making this deal, Ben?
I don't know, Chris. It's a good question. That's sort of that hypothetical. I'm not sure how to answer, other than I would say that as we look to build a winning team in Pittsburgh, we have to be honest about where we are now and relative to current players on our major league team, and maybe how much time we have left with them. And if we're getting into that medium to shorter control period, I think you do one of two things. Either you see if it makes sense to keep players here longer, and that certainly will continue to be open to that with the right guys, with some guys, and or you consider trades. And so probably a little less about 60-game performance sample. Obviously, he's a talented guy. We expect him to bounce back, and more just fitting into part of our longer-term plan, which is to win. And we know in order to win, we've got to build a talent base first.
All right, the two pitchers you get, had to be tricky to make trades for prospects because there was no minor leagues. Ben, tell me about that aspect of it here from getting two guys back from Washington.
Yeah, well, we got a good start, obviously, before 2020 on both guys. We had a lot of information on both guys coming into the year. In Crow's case, he, was at their alt site and then obviously pitched a little bit in the big league, so we have that information. We have a long history with Will going back to college. He's a guy who's had success wherever he's been, got a little taste of the big leagues this year, someone who we think will certainly have a chance to compete and be part of our starting pitching mix going forward. We'll have that opportunity to get to know him better this spring training. Still think there's some ways ahead with him. And then in Eddie Yean's case, again, we had a pretty good history built up coming into the year. Kind of broke out in 2019 in short season. He was at their instructional league program in Florida this past fall. So we have data and video from that. So, we felt like we had plenty of information to go on, despite the interrupted season.
All right, now listen, you know how to build teams. Nobody does it better than you. The Pirate fan base, though, it's been around a long time. They've been down this path before. They had that 3-4 year window there where they had a chance, and now they're sort of in a regroup scenario. So what would you tell the Pirate fan in saying, oh, here we go again now? Let me know in 5 years when we get good again. Now, that's a tricky spot for you to have to be in. You can't look at it that way from a attendance or a fan standpoint, but that is, from a Pirate fan scenario, I can see a little frustration. Bell I like, and now you trade him. I got to go regroup. How do you answer that scenario there when you hear that through a variety of measures? Ben, how do you handle that?
I think first of all, you try to put yourself in their shoes, and that's the first thing that I do in these, think about yourself as a fan first, because that's what I was, long before I worked in a front office. And so I totally get it. I totally get the feeling of connecting to a team, a player rooting for a team, getting frustrated when things aren't going well. And then certainly when there are players that, that you connect to that leave either through trade or free agency, that's frustrating. So, totally get it, first and foremost, where the frustration comes from. I think at the end of the day, my feeling about fans in Pittsburgh is what they want more than anything is winning, first of all, and just a real hard, honest effort towards that from all of us, from players, from staff, from front office, et cetera. So that's what we're going to put forth every day. I think the last thing, going back to the fan, is that look, there's a journey that teams go on to get to winning, and yes, it can happen at different paces. But I think being along with that, and being along sort of with them on that journey, is something we want to do. We want our fans to come along with that on that journey with us, recognizing that there may be some harder parts at the earlier part of the journey. As we build talent, as we develop young talent, as we mature into the team that we all want. But that can also make it meaningful and rewarding when it happens. And so that's what we hope. But, we'll control our part, and that is just we're going to wake up every day, work as hard as we possibly can to build a winning team in Pittsburgh, and trust that if we do that, our fans will stick with us.
And I think Washington got a good player here. You mentioned it. He's a good character guy. I think a little change of scenery do him some good. He's got Soto there. He's had success in the big leagues. They needed offense. I think from a standpoint of Josh Bell, you traded him to the right spot. Ben, give me some thoughts there.
Yeah, no rebuttal on that. I mean, he's going to a good team, obviously a mature team, good players around him, history of success. So, he will – he was going to bounce back anyway, no matter where he was, I think. I expect that he'll do it there. And look, we'll be rooting for him. Like, we're going to focus on, what we need to do in Pittsburgh to win. But, I'm going to continue to root for a guy like Josh Bell. Like, I truly appreciate who he is.
Well done, Ben. Keep up the good work. Thanks for giving me some time here today. Have a happy New Year. We'll keep in touch. Appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure, Chris. Thank you. Happy New Year.